All right, we're going to go ahead and continue with our media availabilities. We've now been joined by Brad Keselowski. If you have a question for Brad, go ahead and raise your hand. We're going to work to get a microphone to you. We'll take as many questions as we can in the time that we have. All right, we're going to start with Dustin here in the back.
Dustin Albino, JC. Brad, from the ownership side, with Chris getting the 30 points back this week, how important is it with how tight the bubble is right now?
Yeah, it's good. It's a good thing to move him up in points. There's a number of ramifications that come from that. But, the reality of this series and the way it's judged, the way the playoff format works, I think our mindset is that, we need to win races to be relevant and to, guarantee our way into the playoffs. So it wasn't a bad thing, but, I don't know if that really changes anything for us. Problem, Dustin.
All right, Mark, in the back, please, in the red. Thank you.
Mark Garrow, PRN. You told us last week, I believe you told me last week at Charlotte, that you've been through seasons like this before. How important was it to get the kind of finish you got at Charlotte, and how hard is it not to try too hard to dig out and you create yourself more problems?
Yeah, Mark, I think that last part really stands out. Just, not trying to do too much. We're hitting our stride as an organization, in particular with the 6 team. The cars are, developing more speed. Our execution's getting better. It's an exciting time for us outside of looking at where we're at in the point standings. And we need to build off of that and just, incrementally inch our way up to being able to win. And I think we're really close to that right now. So, try not to jump the shark on that is important. But last week was a really positive moment for us. Last run of the race, we passed, at least a half a dozen cars and ran the fastest laps and did all the things that would make you feel like you can go in.
How do you view where you sit in the point standings now? Does it make life simple, just go for wins, or do you view it in another way?
It is simple in some ways, yeah. Last year, I don't feel like we had as much pace, but we were executing, getting good finishes out of it for the most part. And, we were sitting, top 10 in points and all those things. We have more potential now, but we haven't had the execution that we had last year. And, I'm just eager to get the execution to go with the potential.
All right, Kelly.
Kelly Crandall, Racer.com. Brad, 2 things. The 32 teams for the in-season tournament will be locked in after tomorrow night. You are the guy on the bubble at 32nd. Right. So I'm just curious, how important have you thought about a team and a driver being represented in that tournament is, given that it's probably going to get TV time, of course, and it's built around being a TV, I would think, kind of aspect?
And I can't say I've thought a lot about it. I've really just think about winning this weekend and what that takes. And, Kelly, I suppose it will be something fun to talk about when it gets going. It's good for the sport, good for our fans, and it's a competition. If there's a competition, we want to win it. But that said, I think our head's down on 1 week at a time, in some ways 1 day at a time, and that's Nashville. And it's hard to look further ahead than that.
Well, along those same lines, maybe not competition-wise, but looking ahead to Mexico, you've competed international before in this sport. So as we look at going to Mexico for the first time with the Cup cars, is there something you are hoping to experience or looking forward to just making that trip and around that event?
Yeah, and it's an interesting event. There's all kinds of different sentiments, positive, negative. I think it's good for the Cup Series in general to see the schedule variability that's really been driven over the last half a dozen years or so. An international race just kind of fitting the bill of everything else we've been doing. I'm really curious the reception from our fans. I think the reception from our partners has been pretty strong, which is always fun and great for the teams. But I'm really curious the reception from our fans here and in Mexico. Will they turn out the way we think they're going to turn out, and what our fans here think? So, it's one of those things where, when it's all said and done, I feel like I'll be able to answer a lot better than I can now. I kind of want to just see how it plays out.
All right, I think we have additional questions. All right, we'll go Dustin, then I'll work the microphone to the back. Go ahead.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Brad, 2 big penalties within a short period of time to your teams. As an owner of the organization, what's the message? Is it pushing too much? Is it a little bit of carelessness in some cases? Or how do you address this situation and tell your people to prevent it?
Yeah, well, the situations at hand were not items that I would call pushing too much as I would call just not having enough regard to understanding the rule book and all of its complexities. And ultimately that burden falls on us. So, we've had those conversations internally, and I think everyone knows what's expected of them moving forward.
I know every team's different, and I know you guys have more people than maybe a typical IndyCar team. I know this week one of the IndyCar teams said, hey, they're putting somebody in charge of, looking over the rules and kind of overseeing a lot of that stuff after they'd gotten penalized. I'm guessing that's already a position that somebody has, or do you have to look more into it because you just described the complexities of the rule book for your team?
Yeah, the rules are extremely complex. It's a bit like an IRS tax code, and you have to have, hey, you read this paper, and you got to reference this paper to reference this paper to reference this paper, and when your head's down and digging and you're running 38 weeks a year, oversights are going to happen, and so from our perspective, that's not an excuse. I can't really speak to other teams and how they handle it. I can speak to ours, and we made some small restructuring this week to be better prepared and more mindful of what it takes to be in compliance. We just changed a few roles and responsibilities internally. No problem.
All right, go ahead.
Jonathan Howard on 3 Sports. Ryan Preece might be the most improved driver of the year, and as a team owner, how's it been to see him succeed so early and find that speed and earn points like he has been?
Yeah, I'm really happy for him, Jonathan. When we brought him on, and I said this to someone the other day, forgive me, I can't remember who, it reminded me a lot of the Chris Buescher story, where people looked at it and said, what do you see here? And I don't know if this is a good move, and I just felt really strong about it. I liked his work ethic. I like his talent. I just felt like he wasn't in the right situation. The same way I felt about Chris. It just felt like the burden was on us to put him in the right position and to allow him to thrive in kind of the scheme that was made for him. And he's done just that. He's put in the effort. He's very hungry. He's very driven. He's in a spot where he's got people that I think really believe in him and are engaged with him in a system that is very supportive, and he's showing what he can do. So I'm thrilled for him. I'm eager to see him win. He's been close a few times, and I can't wait to see him break through. That'll be a good moment. But 3 or 4 years ago, I feel like we were having the same conversation about Chris Buescher, and now Chris is clearly the guy for the 17 car and done all the right things and producing results. And I feel like we're going to be saying the same thing over the next few years about Ryan.
Okay, Lee, go ahead.
Lee Spencer, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio and CatchFence.com. I'm curious, you've had a lot of success on concrete tracks before, Dover and Bristol. What makes this concrete different, where you're still looking for your first top 10 result?
Yeah, well, we've had some really good runs here at Nashville. We haven't been able to, get the finish on the Cup side here. But, I won my first race ever here in NASCAR, which was great in 2008. And what I've always enjoyed about it is the concrete is just really, really unforgiving. It takes a lot of discipline. When you get sideways, the car is much more difficult to recover generally. So I just think it's a different type of racing than the asphalt racing. I enjoy it. I think it's the only mile and a quarter. It's the only track above 1 mile we have in the sport that's concrete. And it's something different and interesting that, kind of breaks up the schedule a little bit. So, for us, we got to survive the restarts, 2 to 3 years. That's been the issue for us, and bring the speed. I think we can do both those.
All right,
Probably.
Larry.
Hey, Brad, Larry Woody. You kind of anticipated my question. When you rolled through that track, was it kind of nostalgic, Brad, looking back to another lifetime when a kid rolled in, got his win? I think you said it was a kind of a career changer at the time. Yeah. You say, man, where did the years go?
Yeah, Larry, I was thinking that. I did the track walk this morning, and, the Cup cars are in this garage over here towards turn 3 and 4, and the Xfinity cars are in the garage in 1 and 2. And I remember coming here in, I guess it would have been 2006 for an ARCA race where I worked on a team, and that was 19 years ago. And now I'm here, owning a team in the Cup Series. It's been quite a ride. I'm really proud to be where I'm at. And this track it's kind of aged like fine wine. When I was doing the walk, I was thinking about it, that the surface here is 25, 26 years old, and it's in great condition. The facilities are in great conditions, and it's just really a kind of a walk back in time for me.
All right. Any additional questions for Brad? Okay. Oh, we got a couple. Okay. We'll go to Lee.
Did you notice anything about the bump in turn 4 being more pronounced? Because a lot of the truck drivers who actually ran a full race there have noticed a distinct difference.
No, the only thing I really noticed in the track walk is there was some significant grinding to the track in the middle of turn 3 and 4, but not on the exit of turn 4. So certainly a key to this racetrack. The next-gen car in particular are very sensitive to rough surfaces, and we'll get a better answer to that after practice.
All right, go ahead.
Brad, Richard Allen, motorsportsreport.net. Other drivers have been in here today talking about sim time and workouts and things like that. With you being a team co-owner and having to deal with sponsors and things of that nature, how are you able to delegate your time so that you can do those things too?
It's a delicate balance, trying to make sure we fulfill the needs of the team, and I'm doing the things I need to be prepared as a race car driver. There's obviously a lot going on. I've got a great cast of people to support me to help me be efficient with my time, which is really important. Otherwise, it's not achievable to your point. No, it's a lot of juggling, but it's part of the fun.
All right, Kelly.
Brad, I was just curious, looking, I believe, in June about upcoming baby watch plans. Is that in place?
Our baby's due in August.
Oh, it's August.
August, yeah. So we got 2 months. That's not what my wife wants to hear, but 2 more months. So I hope we're not talking about babies in June. That would not be good, but it'll be around the corner nonetheless, and all the more reason why getting a win this weekend would be great.
All right. Any final questions for Brad? All right. Brad, thanks for your time. Best of luck this
Good to
weekend.
see you, man. Appreciate it. Have a great day.